Hey, it's Adam here. We're counting down to the UK election and I've got 7 things you need to watch before the results are out. Alright, it's time to celebrate the great tradition of democracy. Or wait, that's not right. The great tradition of calling an election that's completely unnecessary just because your party is ahead in the polls. Now, we're talking about an election that's about nothing, but that doesn't mean that nothing is on the line, especially in the market. So we're going to talk about 7 things that I'm watching, that we're going to be watching as the results roll out today. Number 1. This is easy. Who wins? Theresa May, still comfortably ahead in the polls. Will she be the Prime Minister? The chance of her winning this election is somewhere in the neighborhood of 95%, but there is the tail risk that maybe tomorrow Jeremy Corbyn will be the Prime Minister. Number 2, the seat count. This is a big one. If you look at betting markets, they're putting the seat count somewhere at 359 to 365. That's the over-under. If you remember before the election, Theresa May had 330 seats, 326 is the bare minimum for a majority. So once the results are in, the important thing will be seeing how comfortable of a majority Theresa May and the Conservatives have. Above that 365 level, it's probably good for cable. Below, it's a little bit of a drag, but not until you really get close to that 330 mark is it a big negative for sterling. Number 3, it has been a bad year for pollsters, but today's election will probably be good for at least one of them. Number 3 thing on our list is, how did the pollsters do? Now, the market is trying to get a handle on why pollsters have been so wrong over the last year and occasionally right, and we're going to look closely at who did well and which polling firms did well on election night in the UK to see if that corresponds with what we expected. Now, the range of polls is anything from a 1-point Conservative lead to an 11-point Conservative lead. That is an enormous range, and we're just not sure what to make of that yet, but we'll know a lot more once the results come in. If you remember, in the last election, it was seen as a dead heat or just a 1-point difference for the Conservatives up until election day, and they won a shock majority at the time. So UK pollsters haven't exactly had the greatest run of luck lately. Number 4, how Scotland votes. And I don't know why no one is talking about this, because if you look back at how sterling got here, that's the big part of the story. They had an independence referendum, they lost, one thing led to another, Cameron thought he could win another referendum, then we got Brexit, now we have Scotland even more upset, talking about another referendum, and the last thing the UK needs right now is another referendum, but yet another strong showing by the SNP in Scotland will indicate they can win a referendum. So keep an eye on Scotland as the results roll in, and if we see SNP losses, big ones, they're expected to lose a few seats. If we see them perform worse than expected, and I think it's a good picture, at least in the long term, for sterling. Number 5. Let's get down to the details of the election, specifically the timing of when we're going to get the results. The first numbers are in at about 11:30 BST, that's UK time, but it's not until about midnight to 2 a.m. GMT that we're going to get the bulk of the results. So that's when you want to be watching closely and watching those results come in. Those are the actual numbers. Number 6, exit polls are going to come before the actual election results. Now, the BBC put out some data today that showed their exit polls have been within 20 seats of the actual election, going back all the way to 2000. So you can trade off the exit poll results and expect a big market move on those, but look for some verification as the actual numbers come out. Number 7, how each riding or electoral district does compared to what's expected. Now, we know about the national results, we know what's expected there, but we also have models on each individual riding. And as the results come out, we at ForexLive are going to compare what's expected in each district compared to the real results that are coming in. And that's what's going to give you an idea of how well the conservatives or Labor or anyone else is doing. So we're going to compare those numbers in each riding with the actual numbers. And that will tell you if May is stronger overall or weaker overall. If you look back at the Brexit vote, the Remain side was ahead for much of the evening, but that was because London ridings were coming in early and they were in favor of Remain, but they weren't as strongly in favor of Remain as expected, and that was an early sign that the Brexit side was going to win. So the people who were selling sterling then were on top of it and made a lot of money, and that's what we were talking about at ForexLive, and that's what we're going to be talking about in the hours ahead as those election numbers come in. So overall, watch the numbers as they roll in, watch the exit polls, be ready for anything. I think the better trade is to trade it live because I think sterling has plenty of room to run if Theresa May hangs on and wins a strong majority. If you like this video, let us know in the comments, give it a thumbs up, stop by ForexLive and watch our live coverage all night of the election, and thanks so much for watching. For ForexLive, I'm Adam Button.